This Aderonn Airsoft review is brought to you by AirsoftClub.com. Hey guys, here with another Aderonn Airsoft review. This is a double review for today. We will be reviewing the SHS 16:1 high-speed gear set and the SHS short type high-speed motor. This is not them, obviously. This is my AK. This is my field gun, and I figured this would be our test subject for the day. There's only so much I can really tell you about the gear set or the motor before I have to show you guys. So I figured since I want them in this gun anyways, why not just use it for the video. So what we're going to be doing is installing the motor in, testing it, installing the gears in, testing them, and then putting them both in together and testing them to see how they alter the rate of fire. You can get both of them from AirsoftClub.com. You can get the motor for $38 and the gear set for $18. Links in the description. So now to the review. So here we are with the motor and gears. I just went ahead and took the motor out of the packaging for review purposes, but we're going to move that to the side and go over the gears first. With these gears, I'm pretty much just going to go over the general ratio gears come in. Now this does not have to do with helical gears, as those have sort of a different ratio standard, I guess. But for standard gears, for gears in general, they're going to come in a certain number compared to 1. So these are 16:1, 1 being 1 piston stroke. So the larger number, 16, being how many times the motor has to spin, or the pinion gear on the motor, how many times that spins. So let's say you have your motor and you're going to fire off one shot. This motor has to spin 16 times for these gears to pull the piston back once. Standard gears are 18:1, meaning the motor has to spin 18 times to pull it back once. So here we have the motor. As you can see, it's just a short type motor. Airsoft Club does have long type motors as well. So just a little bit of information about this motor here. It has neodymium magnets, meaning that it's still quite strong and has a nice amount of torque for being a high-speed gear or a high-speed motor, but it's going to require a pretty hefty battery to sustain fire for long. So you're going to want to have a nice battery. Don't go with any cheapo batteries or any Chinese brand batteries that came with the gun. You're going to want to get a nice battery as well if you don't already have one. One thing also I do want to caution you against is just throwing this motor in and running it for a long time on a stock shim gearbox. You're going to want to re-shim your gearbox and shim it to the bevel gear and not to the spur gear. It's at least for me, it's a relatively new idea to shim it that way, but I've talked to friends, tech friends, who know their way around a gearbox, and they've said shim it to the bevel gear. It's much more accurate than shimming it to the spur gear. So just make sure you do that. Make sure, just in general, you have a good shim job, or this is going to eat your gearbox up. And as with these gears right here, just make sure your gearbox is in good condition and it's all shimmed and the angle of engagement is adjusted properly before you go out and do a lot of play with these. So now to the test. First we're just going to, like I said, do a couple shots in full auto with the gun, being that it is stock, to test its rate of fire right now. Then we're going to throw in the motor, test its rate of fire with that, and compare those. Then throw in the gears, and then we'll put in both of them together and see how that all works out. So let's get to it. So here we are, in conclusion, quite impressed with both of them. I was hoping for a little bit more out of the gears. I was hoping for maybe 2 or 3 instead of 1 round per second increase. But with rate of fire, this is my field gun. I'm going to be using it, and any little bit helps. So happy with that 1 round per second increase. The motor, though, really did perform well. It performed well, and I'm happy with 16 rounds per second from the original 11. The 11 was getting a little bit sluggish. I was almost embarrassed to shoot it on full out because it was just everybody was shooting so much faster, and I was stuck at 11 rounds per second. So I'm quite happy with this now, shooting around 400 feet per second at 16 rounds per second. Decent for field, and quite impressed with how they both perform, especially together. So you can get both of them at airsoftclub.com. Link in the description. If you have any comments or questions, leave them below. Any questions, though, that are urgent, send them to me in a personal message, and I will do my best to get back to you as soon as possible. So comment, like, and subscribe, and I will see you guys later. This Aderonn Airsoft review is brought to you by airsoftclub.com.